welcome to another Supernaturally Healthy Live. Welcome. So every Tuesday at 6 p.m. or most Tuesdays at 6 p.m. I hop on here for for the weekly Supernaturally Healthy Live show. So for those of you that don't know who I am, I'm Kezia Hall. I am a holistic health coach based in Scotland. I run Supernaturally Healthy and I help people to sort out their poo, sort out their periods, and eat awesome food, and especially cake. I've just realised I've not got my headphones in. Sometimes the sound is a bit clearer with them in. So I'm just going to put that in. Hopefully that sounded clearer for you. And today what I want to talk about is a very topical topic for right now. I mean, you can tell from this picture I look like I'm in the depths of winter. I moved house about 2 weeks ago and things are still slightly hectic. But we are in the middle of winter here in the UK. And so what I want to talk about today is how we can avoid the common cold and how we can support our immune system and get to a place where if we have a cold, we know how to get rid of it relatively quickly. And maybe last winter you were getting colds all the time, and this winter you want to avoid it completely. So I'm going to be sharing some really useful things that if you implement can really help to support your immune system and your resilience so that this year you're not forever getting ill and feeling awful. I know there was a season in my life that went on for many years when I was really ill and depressed and had chronic diarrhea, when my immune system was really quite poor. Every Christmas, it seemed like for about 5 or 6 years, I would get ill. I would have a constant sniffle, nose getting blocked up. In the summer, I struggled with hay fever. So it felt like throughout all the seasons, I was constantly bunged up and just waiting for the next cold or flu or virus to hit. And it's just really not a very fun place to be at all. So if you are joining me live, do let me know that you're here in the comments below. So we've got Doreen and Nicola, hello. So do say hello. If you are joining me live, then just put your favorite emoji in the thing. There's so many emojis now. I love asking people to do that because it's a bit of a psychology test. What's your favorite emoji? What does it say about you? Someone's probably doing a PhD on that. So do let me know. And if you have any questions, whether you're watching this live, whether you're watching the recording, then let me know in the comments below. And what I'll do for those of you that are joining me live is I will answer the questions at the end, just so I've got my notes down here just so we don't get disjointed. But I will answer your questions. I'd love to be more than happy to do that. And if you think this video would be helpful for any friends, like Nicola's saying, you've got a sore throat and everybody knows, if you feel like you've got friends that maybe got a cold, always got a cold, have low immune system, then do feel free to share this video by hitting the share button below or tagging them in the comments below so that they can learn about how to support your immune system, because the system of our immunity is a really important system, and it reaches far beyond colds and flus, and it is a really complex and beautiful system in the body. So we're just going to really be touching on the surface of a couple of really simple things that we can do to support our immune system. With that, I am going to dive on in. So if you find that you're someone that's constantly getting colds and flus, there's a couple of things that's really worth looking at. If you're constantly in that state, then that can mean that your immunity, so your immune system is potentially a little bit downregulated and sluggish. And so it's one of those things, we shouldn't constantly be having colds all the time. That's not that healthy. Getting a couple a year, that's completely fine. It's a sign of a good, robust immune system. Things like colds and flus, the viruses themselves can evolve and change, which is why, if you never, ever get colds and flus, I'm not sure how healthy that is, because it's often a time that, if you never get a cold and flu, it can sometimes mean that your body is just so on edge and stressed that it never gets the space to. But you shouldn't be having 4, 5, 6, 7 a year. You just want 1 or 2 little colds a year, and that should be fine. But in terms of looking at your immune system, obviously when you've got a cold, there's a couple of really useful things you can do right now, and I'm going to share those. But you've really got to look at the overall picture of your whole health. And that's really what I do with a lot of my clients, is we look at whole body health, the holistic approach to loving and healing your body. So if your immune system is a bit crashed, it's merely a signal that your body is not doing great. And it's really worth taking note of that. It's really worth listening to that. You know, the reason that you feel tired, the reason that you're all snotty, the reason you want to stay in bed is because your body needs to slow down. And sometimes a cold or flu is your body saying to you, I need to slow down. And the reason I wanted to talk about this for this week's Supernaturally Healthy Live was 2 weeks ago I moved house. Before that, I had a bunch of uni assignments due, and the day after I moved house, I headed to uni for a long, intense uni weekend. I also had some business launch stuff that was going on here, so it was a really, really busy time. Then I moved to house, was trying to unpack everything, and needless to say, 6 days later, I was ill. I just got a virus. It wasn't anything terrible, but I knew I was going to end up ill because of the stress and everything that was going on. So if you are getting colds regularly, it's often your body saying a sign, putting up a little flag and saying, hey, I'm really tired, I'm really stressed, please can you just look after me a little bit? Really, really important. Don't just, I know we're going to talk about some kind of quick fixy things, but it is your body looking after you, and it's really important that you do rest and you do look after yourself, because that's what the body needs. Often we hate our bodies for this immune response, for the snotty nose, for the feeling tired, for the foggy head, but actually that is your body protecting you. That is your body doing its best job to contain the virus, to look after your body, to get rid of it. That's why you get fevers, to kind of kill off the virus going on. You know, your body is protecting you. So, getting down to the nitty-gritty details. What are the 5 different things that you can do to support your body if you have a cold, or if you just want to prevent colds over the next coming months? Because I don't know about you, I don't want to have colds very often. Like, I really don't. They just are not fun. Like, last week I had one, and I was trying to do some yoga, and I couldn't do my downward dog because, you know, your head just feels like it's on a vice, and all your sinuses, and I was like, oh, this is not relaxing yoga at all, because I had the virus and it just wasn't very pleasant. So, the first thing that you can do to really help with colds and flu is to sleep. Yep, sleep is a non-negotiable for your health, and when your immune system is coming under attack, it becomes even more of a non-negotiable. So whatever you have to do to get extra sleep, do it. If you have small kiddies around, it's time to get a babysitter. It's time to ask family to come and help you. It's time to put them in extra nursery so you can have a sleep. Whatever it is, ask friends to help you. Whatever it is, you need to get some extra sleep. For most of us, that means we can just go to bed earlier, and getting to bed earlier is really helpful, and maybe sleeping in a little bit longer. So don't get up and go to the gym if you've got a cold at like 6:30 in the morning. Stay in bed for an extra hour if you can. Take an afternoon nap again if you can, and get to bed early. Get to bed an hour before you normally would do, at least, so that you're getting 8, 9, 10 hours of sleep a night. So number 1, sleep is really important. Often you'll find that you get ill if you've just had periods of a lack of sleep. I know for me, if I don't get enough sleep, I can literally predict, and if I have a week of no sleep, then I will get sick with a cold. It's literally cause and effect for me. And I know everybody is different. Everyone's cells are different. Everyone's immune system is different. But it is really, really important to sleep. So that's number 1. Number 2 is vitamin C and zinc. So all the things I'm going to share are really helpful when you're in a cold or flu, or if you're wanting to prevent one. They're still useful. So vitamin C and zinc, there was some research showed that vitamin C with zinc together had a greater effect when it comes to shortening the duration of your cold, and it can be really, really helpful. I personally take quite high amounts of vitamin C every day throughout the year, and that's really, really reduced the colds that I have, and is really helpful for healthy skin, healthy hair, for energy, for supporting your adrenals, for detoxification, for heart health. Vitamin C is one of my favorite vitamins, and I'll link to a post that I've written all about why I love vitamin C. Seriously, I love vitamin C. It's so, so good.
So vitamin C mixed with zinc, which is a really, really important mineral that really helps to support our immune system. Those two together, really, really helpful for helping shorten the duration of your cold or prevent you from getting a cold in the first place. So vitamin C supplementation is relatively easy to get hold of. I personally take about doses of 1,000 milligrams, so 1 gram, and I'll take a couple of those throughout the day. Research finds vitamin C to be non-toxic, and in fact someone won a Nobel Prize due to the discovery and all the benefits around vitamin C and heart health in general. So it really is a phenomenal vitamin to take. I recommend it in a liposomal form, but that is pretty expensive. So if that's out of your price range, a food-based form is ideal. And if that's out of your price range, then just a basic vitamin C ascorbic acid is completely fine. Just be careful if you have any corn sensitivities or allergies, which I do. A lot of your ascorbic acid comes from corn, and so you can be having it can actually cause a bit of an immune response if you are sensitive to corn. So just so you know. So number 3, when it comes to getting rid of a cold or preventing a cold, is veggies. And the best way that I like to do this when I'm not feeling that well is either through some fresh juice or fresh smoothies. Now, what I often do, especially because we often get colds in wintertime, is I'll often just make short little shots. I don't fancy lots of cold juice in winter, but I'll make little shots of ginger, and I'll put loads of ginger in there, lots of carrot, maybe a bit of turmeric, maybe some pineapple because that's quite anti-inflammatory, and maybe a bit of spinach, and I'll just make a really concentrated shot and shot it back like tequila. It's pretty fiery. It's gonna get your energy going, but ginger's an amazing, amazing anti-inflammatory food. So good for your body. And what I do is I will make a huge batch of this really concentrated ginger shot. Like, you cannot drink a lot of it, and I wouldn't recommend that you do. Then I put it into ice cube trays, keep it in the freezer. So in the morning now, what I do to prevent colds is I'd take an ice cube tray, which is this concentrated ginger juice that I've made, add a little bit of hot water, allow it to melt, and then shot it down. And it means I don't have to faff about with a juicer every single day. Another great way to get more veggies in is to make yourself a smoothie. So I have the Green Smoothie Challenge, an ebook, which comes with over 45 different recipes, where if you head to supernaturallyhealthy.org, you will see everything you need there to make beautiful smoothies that do not taste like pond water. They actually taste like pudding and dessert. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. So tip number 4 is garlic. Love garlic. Garlic is amazing, amazing, amazing for you. It's really, really helpful at detoxification. It's really great for your immune system. And the best way to take garlic is raw and fresh. So what I would do if I have a cold, if I'm preventing a cold, is I'll take a clove of garlic, I'll crush it with a knife, chop it up into really small pieces. I'm talking like tiny, tiny chunks, just like a pill, and then I swallow it with water. So no chewing. I don't keep it in my mouth for very long. I just down it like a pill. And throughout the day, I'll aim to have maybe half a clove, maybe a full clove of garlic, raw, just consumed with water. And this can be really, really helpful for shortening. I found personally, I'm not seeing much research on it, but in terms of anecdotally, I found it really helpful for reducing the length and the severity of my colds, because it really helps with your antioxidant production naturally in the body, and it's strengthening your immune system and all of that sort of good stuff. It's really antibacterial, antifungal. It's a really amazing habit to get into, just to consume a little bit of raw garlic every day. And it's really easy to do. If you're making a bolognese, you're going to put garlic in your bolognese anyway. Just take a little bit, put it in your mouth and swallow it with water. If you want to chew it, you can. I don't like that. Don't like the taste of raw garlic. It makes me feel quite ill. But some people love it, so they can chew it. And some people might find that they get like garlic burps. I personally don't, and a lot of my clients don't. But if you do, just make sure you're having garlic before a meal. So you would take a tiny, tiny bit of chopped garlic. Remember to chop it up. Don't try and swallow a whole clove. Chop up a bit of garlic small, swallow it, and then eat your meal, because that will help to push down that garlic. So you shouldn't get that kind of regurgitating garlicky smells, because that might happen if you consume garlic after a meal. It's sitting on top. Say this is your meal. It's sitting on top of your meal, your food in your stomach, and that can ferment back up. So garlic, it's really cheap. You know, garlic is not expensive. Really easy. Ideally get organic garlic, or grow your own, if you're green fingered. I'm not, so I get mine delivered from a veg box company that's local, but really, really helpful. So if you have a cold, so Nicola, you're in the middle of a cold, making sure, and I know it sounds really gross, but if you chop it up small enough and down it quickly, you don't really get that garlicky grossness, and then eat something afterwards, it really helps to push it all down. So garlic would be my number 4. And number 5 would be making the most of tea, as in like a cup of tea, cup of English tea, although not necessarily English tea. I would really recommend when you're ill, you often fancy warm beverages, and so consuming lots of herbal teas is a surefire way to get lots of real nourishment for your liver. It also helps you to stay hydrated, which is really, really important. And often when you've got a cold, you don't want to drink loads of cold water. So having herbal teas, things like ginger tea, we've already heard about how amazing ginger is, turmeric teas, nettle teas, fennel teas, peppermint teas, raspberry leaf tea, hibiscus tea, echinacea tea, detox tea, licorice tea. I've already mentioned licorice tea, probably have. Literally any herbal tea that you can think of, green tea. Drink lots of teas because it has that double benefit of those teas can really help to support your things like nettle tea, dandelion tea, or a detox tea can have elements that really support your liver functioning, which is really helpful and help to open up those detoxification pathways. Your liver has 2 main kind of conversions and pathways that toxins need to go through to get converted to then be excreted from the body, and certain properties and things like nettle tea can be really helpful for just encouraging that process to go along to get rid of these toxins from your body, which is what you want when you have a cold. Are really, really helpful. Plus it keeps you hydrated, which is really important when you're not well. Being dehydrated is really, really problematic if you have a cold. So those would be my kind of top 5 tips. Now, a couple of bonus things. If you feel like you've had a viral infection for a really long time, then you might want to kind of up the ante a little bit. And if I feel like I've had so like last week when I had my kind of virus, I felt like it was maybe lasting longer than it should do. It was kind of going on for 5, 6, 7 days. Normally with these strategies I've shared with you, I normally nip a cold in the bud. I don't think that makes sense. I normally nip it in the bud within 2 days. So I can feel a cold on, say, Tuesday. If I implement these strategies, I'm feeling better by day 3. It doesn't last very long. But if you feel like something's persisting, then oregano oil can be really helpful. Now, I don't recommend people use oregano oil in a kind of willy-nilly basis. For those of you that aren't British, that just means ad hoc or willy-nilly. It's a great phrase. So oregano oil is very potent. It's a really potent antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral, and I do not recommend that you take it. I don't tend to recommend people take it without kind of seeking some sort of like holistic advice or practitioner advice. But diffusing it can be really, really helpful. A couple of days of a diffuser. So I have one here on my desk. So last week I was diffusing some oregano oil and some clove oil and a couple of other things in here so I could absorb it through my blood vessels in my nose through breathing it in. And that can really help to shift things. Also, you can take supplements of oregano oil, but I recommend people initially just diffuse it, maybe rub it in to the soles of your feet with some coconut oil, so 1 drop oregano oil if you have an essential oil, and a good kind of little handful of coconut oil, just rubbing that into the soles of your feet, or if your glands are swollen, into your glands, which always happens to me. That can be really helpful, but it does come with the warning that oregano oil is very potent and you can do damage to your body by overusing oregano oil. So you literally only want to use it for a couple of days, and ideally you would be getting some sort of kind of practitioner advice on that. But it can be really, really helpful. And the other thing is just to reiterate what we talked about at the start, that it's important to take note of your colds. Is it just because the season's changing, or you have little kids that are bringing germs back? Or are you pushing yourself too hard? Do you need to sleep better? Do you need to rest more? Do you need to take some hot baths? Do you need to get some support? Get some help, get some babysitting, get a cleaner in, take a day off, take a holiday. What is it that you need to do what is your body telling you by having cold or by having colds constantly. And if you're looking to avoid colds this winter, if you do these things, eat tons of veggies, get good amounts of sleep, take some vitamin C and a little bit of zinc in there, consume some raw garlic every day, and consume really good amounts of herbal teas throughout the day, things like pucca teas or yogi teas, or do you want kind of teas that are more medicinal kind of dosage? Or if you want to get really sophisticated, you could go to your local herbalist and they will often maybe blend you up your own unique tea, which is amazing and super fun. So a herbalist will do that for you. Then those things should really help just keep you feeling awesome and energized and healthy over the festive and holiday and winter season. So if you have any questions, I'm just going to check on, because sometimes the questions can take a while to load up on here. Oh yeah, Nicola, got a sore throat and a runny nose. Don't want to take a Lemsip. Yeah, if you steam can be really helpful if you've got a sore throat. So kind of steaming that and taking a hot bath with some essential oils or Epsom salts or even just some sea salt and coconut oil, plunking that in the bath. That heat can be really, really helpful in terms of sore throat. Also with a sore throat, if you feel like there's the infections in your throat, you can also gargle with salt water. I know some people can't really hack that because it's too disgusting. But that can be really helpful, just gargling with a bit of warm salted water. Salt's really antibacterial, so it just helps to cleanse that area at the back of your throat, and that can be helpful. Or like applying essential oils here, that can be really, really useful. A lot of people really enjoy things like Olbas oil, although I had a client recently that got really quite sick from Olbas oil, and I think it has a bit more crap in than we think. So I don't actually use Olbas oil anymore because it's not a pure essential oil. It's got a little bit more crap in than one would like. So I hope this has been super helpful for you. If you're watching this on the recording, then do feel free to let me know any questions you have. Feel free to share this with anyone. And if you want more information from me, then do head over to supernaturallyhealthy.org. You can book in your free chat with me if you want to work on one-on-one. I have some exciting announcements coming up tomorrow. So make sure you head over to supernaturallyhealthy.co.uk or .org and join my newsletter list, because tomorrow I've got some very exciting things all about how to eat awesome food over Christmas without becoming the size of a whale, and how to start 2018 in the best way ever. So do get in touch. I'd love to chat to you and talk to you about one-to-one coaching if you feel like that's for you. Otherwise, I will see you next week. Nicola, okay, I'll go get my rubber duckies. I don't have a rubber duck. And I love baths. I feel like this is something I need to solve. Maybe that would be a good Christmas present. I know I keep on mentioning Christmas, but I'm so excited. I think I might need to get myself a cool little rubber ducky. Maybe one that's big enough where you can put a cup of tea on it and then it can float around the bath. That would be amazing. I would love, or a glass of wine rested in a rubber ducky that floated around. Oh, I mean, that would be living the dream. Maybe dangerous because you end up with wine in your bath or gin in your bath. But Anyway, lots of love, and I will see you next Tuesday at 6 p.m. UK time for another Supernaturally Healthy Live. Sending you lots of love. Bye.